Have you ever watched a brand, maybe one you thought you knew really well, suddenly try to, well, shed its skin, to kind of ditch that sensible, maybe even a bit predictable image and just leap headfirst into something undeniably exhilarating, something properly sporty? Well, that's exactly where we're plunging into our deep dive today. We're focusing on a car that really embodies that bold ambition, the Hyundai Coupe.
Indeed. It's a vehicle known by a few different names, actually, depending on where you were in the world. Tiburon over North America, Tuscany in its home market of South Korea.
Right.
But yeah, regardless of the badge or the continent, this car was an absolutely pivotal moment in Hyundai's evolution. A clear and pretty loud signal of their intent to play in a very different league.
So our mission today is to unpack the whole journey of this ambitious machine for you. We're going to explore its bold, often surprising design. The mechanical bits hidden underneath that sleek body, it's actually quite unexpected practicality, and really importantly, how it holds up in the secondhand market today.
Yeah.
Did it truly hit that goal of being an affordable sports coupe? And how does it really stack up now, all these years later?
It's fascinating because this car truly marked a significant departure for Hyundai. I mean, from its initial launch back in '96, evolving through two pretty distinct generations and several updates until, 2009?
Yeah, about then.
It represented a brave new direction for a brand, mostly known, let's be honest, until then, for making incredibly sensible, dependable, but maybe somewhat unexciting cars.
Right. And you could almost feel the ambition just radiating off that first generation, the RD, that whole biomechanical design thing with its intricate curves and sort of organic forms. It was something else.
It really is.
Looked like nothing else Hyundai had ever made. But then the second generation, the GK, came along. Sharper lines and more commanding, almost predatory presence. That's where it really earned that affectionate, if maybe slightly aspirational nickname, the baby Ferrari. Hyundai wasn't just dipping its toes in. It felt like they were making a grand statement, almost screaming, "Look at us now!"
Well, while I absolutely agree the design was a huge leap forward, especially with the GK, that baby Ferrari comparison was perhaps, more of an aspiration than a hard reality.
Okay, fair enough.
It certainly looked the part, aiming for that dramatic supercar-ish aesthetic. But beneath that striking first-gen body, the RD, you still found the underpinnings of a standard family sedan, the Hyundai Elantra or Elantra platform. So that immediately raises questions about its pure sports car credentials, doesn't it? It was dressed for the ball, maybe, but perhaps still wearing its sensible shoes underneath.
But that visual identity, even right from the start, it was so distinct, wouldn't you say? Unconventional, almost artistic, with those flowing organic shapes.
Oh, definitely.
And then with that RD2 update, it changed again with the twin-eyed look. Some people even called it the bug-eye model, affectionately. It kept things fresh, kept people talking.
The bug-eye nickname for the RD2 facelift certainly stuck, yeah. Though for some, those more conventional headlamps were maybe less universally loved than the original rounded quad lamps. But what's really fascinating here, and kind of critical to understanding the Coupe's impact, is how it strategically carved out its own niche. It wasn't trying to directly, outperform or outhandle established pure sports cars.
Right.
Instead, it offered really eye-catching style and a sporting feel at a considerably lower price point than the well-known European and Japanese rivals of the time. Cars like the Toyota Celica, maybe the Ford Puma, Peugeot 406 Coupe, even the Fiat Coupe.
Right. Those are the big players.
Exactly. So in Hyundai's strategy, it was really a value proposition first, style second, and maybe outright performance a more distant third. It opened up a part of the market that craved that visual excitement without the big price tag.
It's pretty clear Hyundai was trying to tell a completely new story about itself, wasn't it? To reshape its whole identity. And the Coupe was, literally the messenger. A bold statement on wheels. This wasn't just another car on the forecourt. It felt like a declaration.
Absolutely. It was all about creating a new perception for the brand, challenging those preconceptions. And the visual identity was totally central to that strategy. It had to look the part to even get noticed.
And hey, if you're already enjoying the ride on this deep dive into Hyundai's ambitious venture, maybe take a quick second to hit that like button. Leave us a comment too. Tell us your thoughts on the Hyundai Coupe. And definitely make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next exploration.
Okay, let's really get under the skin now. What was actually under the hood, and how did it feel on the road? For me, the real game changer was bringing in that 2.7-liter V6 Delta engine in the second generation, the GK.
The V6.
That engine, for the first time, really gave the coupe a much more formidable performance class, didn't it? It delivered smooth power, strong mid-range torque, definitely hinted at a proper Grand Tourer personality, made long journeys seem like a real possibility.
Well, the V6 was certainly a significant step up, and provided a far smoother, more refined power delivery. We do need to put its performance figures into a bit of perspective.
A 0 to 62 miles per hour time of around 8.2 seconds for the V6 was, well, it was satisfactory.
Satisfactory, okay. Not blistering then.
Not blistering, no. It was never about extreme peak power or winning drag races off the lights. This wasn't a car designed to obliterate records. And what's quite interesting, actually, is that the entry-level 1.6-liter engine on that GK generation was actually detuned for emissions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, leading to 0 to 62 times of over 11 seconds. Which is quite a relaxed pace for anything calling itself a sports coupe. Almost bordering on leisurely, you might say.
Right, 11 seconds is taking its time. But the engineering advancements in the GK were significant, weren't they? Beyond just the V6.
Yeah.
You had a considerably more rigid chassis, crucial for handling, and a first ever for Hyundai, a 6-speed manual gearbox.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Yeah. For a brand still finding its feet in performance. And what about that advanced multi-link rear suspension? That was pretty notable for a car in its price range, offering better control, more predictability, especially on tricky British B roads.
You're right. The chassis rigidity improvements and that multi-link rear suspension were definite positives, particularly for handling composure and predictability. They certainly made the car feel more capable when you pushed it a bit. However, the engines themselves, while reliable, mostly used pretty conventional technologies like multi-point fuel injection. They notably avoided the more complex, performance-oriented systems that were starting to emerge than things like direct injection, turbocharging, or even hybrid options.
Kept the cost down, I suppose.
Exactly. Kept costs down, but also limited their ultimate performance ceiling. And as for the steering, well, it was never particularly praised for its ultimate level of communication. Owners often found it felt a little vague, just off-center, meaning you sometimes had to sort of second-guess its intentions, especially when trying to place it precisely through a corner or really feel for grip. It prioritized stability over outright agility, you could say.
Still, that available 2.0-liter Beta 2 engine with CVVT, that's continuous variable valve timing, helps optimize performance across the rev range that was a dependable and pretty capable all-around performer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Might not have been a track monster, but it was certainly a willing engine for everyday driving. Offered a decent balance.
True, the 2.0-liter Beta 2 was a solid workhorse, especially with that CVVT system. But on the road, particularly if you went for the larger 17-inch wheel standard on the V6, the ride quality could be, well, excessively firm on typical UK roads.
The classic firm ride issue.
Yeah. It often resulted in a kind of jiggly ride and quite noticeable road noise, which definitely impacted overall comfort, especially on longer trips. So while it aimed for sportiness, the everyday experience sometimes paid the price. Made it less of a refined cruiser and more of a, well, firm companion.
Right. If you're finding these insights as intriguing as we do, please do give us a like. Share your thoughts in the comments about the Hyundai Coupe, maybe you owned one. And subscribe to The Deep Dive for more focused explorations into these kinds of automotive stories. Now, let's talk about actually living with this car day to day. This is where, for me, the Coupe really shone. That exceptional value proposition. The level of standard kit was truly impressive for the price. Stuff that often cost extra on rivals. We're talking a full safety package airbags, ABS with EBD, that's electronic brake force distribution.
It helps balance the braking, yeah.
Exactly. Plus climate control, electric windows, electric mirrors, those lovely leather sports seats, even cruise control. Hyundai really threw the kitchen sink at it, didn't they?
It's undeniable the standard equipment list was generous. That was a major selling point. Definitely made the car feel like you were getting a lot for your money. However, once you actually sat inside, the interior material quality, particularly the plastics on the dashboard and door panels, well, they weren't really on the same level as premium European rivals.
Hard plastics.
Pretty much. Often felt quite hard to the touch, and they were prone to scratches too, which did detract from the overall perceived quality, especially as the cars got older. It felt more about the quantity of features than the quality of the touch points, perhaps.
But for a coupe, it was surprisingly practical. That large hatchback boot, 312 liters of space, Expandable quite a bit with the 50/50 split-folding rear seats.
True.
This car could genuinely be a capable long-distance vehicle, not just a weekend toy. Plus, the multimedia stuff evolved, didn't it? O inputs and Bluetooth eventually appeared on the final S3 models.
They did, yeah. Kept it somewhat current.
And who could forget that slightly novel feature, the digital torque gauge in the center console? It was a bit gimmicky maybe, but it added to the sporty vibe. Give you something fun to look at.
Yeah, the practicality was indeed a strong point. Definitely more versatile than many direct coupe rivals. Made it a viable daily driver for some people. And yeah, the torque gauge was a quirky, almost charming addition.
Right.
However, the primary complaint from many owners, often centered on the running costs, that could be a significant hidden expense.
Ah, okay. How so?
Well, take the V6, for instance. Official combined fuel consumption around 28.5 mpg, which could easily drop into the low 20s if you drove it with a bit of spirit.
Ouch.
And crucially, its CO2 emissions, 236 grams per kilometer, placed it in very high UK road tax bands, vehicle excise duty. That became a really significant running cost consideration, properly biting into the affordable aspect of ownership, especially as tax structures changed.
Yeah, that VED could be brutal.
Absolutely. Also, while it was well equipped for its time, it lacked any of the advanced driver assistance systems that became common later on. Something modern buyers might notice is missing.
Still, the general reliability was a strength, wasn't it? And that's a huge plus for a performance-ish car, or any car really. From what I've seen, the engines and manual gearboxes were pretty robust, if maintained correctly. That speaks volumes for its durability.
Reliability, yes, but that caveat, if maintained correctly, is extremely important. As we'll probably get into when we look at the secondhand market, it's that if maintained correctly part that often trips up unwary buyers.
Good point. And if this deep dive is sparking your curiosity, just a quick moment to ask, please give us a like, share your thoughts in the comments about your experiences or perceptions of the Hyundai Coupe, and do subscribe to the deep dive for more surprising insights. And that brings us perfectly to the secondhand market. This is where the Hyundai Coupe truly becomes potentially a compelling performance bargain. It depreciated quite significantly from new.
Hugely, yeah.
Which means you can pick one up for a surprisingly affordable price today. You'll find them widely available on places like Auto Trader UK, Piston Heads, almost begging for a new home sometimes.
It is indeed a bargain in terms of that initial purchase price, absolutely. But here's where we need to introduce the really crucial known issues that any potential buyer must be aware of.
Okay, lay it on us.
The most significant and potentially terminal problem across all generations of the Hyundai Coupe is rust.
The dreaded R word.
I really cannot stress this enough. It's the car's Achilles heel.
Yeah.
You absolutely must meticulously inspect key areas. The rear wheel arches, both inside and out, the sills, especially near the jacking points where moisture collects, and crucially, the suspension mounting points on the subframes.
Right, structural points.
Exactly. Extensive structural corrosion there can render the car quite literally beyond economical repair, turning that bargain into a very expensive, very rusty paperweight.
That's a serious point, a real showstopper if you don't check it properly. But if you do find a good one, particularly maybe a later S3 model or a V6, those are generally the most sought after, aren't they? They tend to hold their value slightly better among enthusiasts.
They do.
You get a similar visual impact to rivals like the Toyota Celica. And with the V6, a more charismatic engine note for considerably less money. Feels almost like cheating the system.
Well, while the V6 and S3 models are indeed more desirable, the price difference often isn't huge compared to other variants. Precisely because those higher running costs we mentioned, the tax, the fuel, the insurance, they can still discourage some potential buyers, regardless of the low initial purchase price.
Right, the total cost of ownership.
Exactly. And speaking of maintenance, the cam bolt on all engines is a critical service item. It must be changed every 5 years or 60,000 miles, whichever comes first. Otherwise, failure will result in catastrophic engine damage. Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And on the V6, because of engine access, it's a more complex and therefore more expensive job. So you need to budget for that or make sure it's been done recently with proof.
Gotcha. Any other common mechanical gremlins people should listen out for beyond the rust and the cam bolt?
Yes, definitely. Listen carefully for rattling noises on the 2.0 CVVT engines when you start them up from cold. That could indicate an issue with the timing mechanism itself.
Okay.
Check for crunching in the manual gearboxes, particularly when selecting second gear from cold that points to worn synchronizers. quite a common issue. Worn clutches are frequent too, as you'd expect on older, potentially driven hard cars.
Makes sense.
And on the V6 models, a failing dual-mass flywheel that's a component designed to smooth out engine vibrations is an expensive repair, often running into four figures. So check for excessive vibration or noise when engaging the clutch.
Wow, okay. That's a big bill.
It is. And also, despite all its visual flair and ambition, that lingering brand perception disadvantage compared to established Japanese or German competitors still contributes to its faster depreciation. It's just not seen in the same light by many buyers.
So even though it's undeniably a bargain up front, getting a comprehensive pre-purchase inspection, maybe by a garage that knows these cars, seems like a very small investment for a potentially huge peace of mind.
Oh, absolutely essential.
You're basically paying a detective to look for those hidden problems, aren't you?
You are. It's the best way, probably the only reliable way, to uncover hidden horrors like significant rust or serious mechanical neglect on what is now an aging, though often much-loved, performance car. Don't skip that step, seriously.
So looking back at the Hyundai Coupe then, it truly represented a brave new direction for the brand, didn't it? It offered that distinctive style, incredibly generous features for the money, and a real taste of sporty driving, all at a surprisingly accessible price point. It was, in many ways, a charming underdog.
It was truly a car of clever compromises, I think. It balanced that bold, aspirational design with a platform derived from a more humble family sedan. It offered spirited engines, but they came with potentially considerable running costs that could catch owners out. And it gave exceptional upfront value, offset by that ever-present potential for serious rust issues if neglected. It asked you to compromise a little, maybe, but it gave you quite a lot in return visually.
It definitely carved out its own unique position in the market. So considering its fascinating journey, its unique standing, and its, well, lasting legacy among enthusiasts, what do you think was the Hyundai Coupe's biggest triumph? And maybe what was its most enduring challenge? Was it truly a proper deep dive into the sports coupe segment, fully committing to the performance ideal? Or was it more of a stylish toe dip that really paved the way for Hyundai's future, kind of laying the groundwork for more genuinely sporty cars to come later?
That's the core question, isn't it? A triumph was definitely pushing boundaries for Hyundai, signaling their ambition loud and clear. The challenge, maybe not fully redefining the sports car segment for the masses in the West some rivals did, but what it did unequivocally was show what was possible for Hyundai. It set the stage for everything that came after.
A stepping stone, perhaps. As always, we love hearing your thoughts. If this deep dive sparked any questions or memories for you about the Coupe, drop them in the comments below. We do read them.
Please do.
And if you enjoyed learning about the Hyundai Coupe, please make sure to like this deep dive and subscribe to our channel for more surprising insights into the things that shape our world. Until next time, stay curious.